I used to wake up every morning before sunrise, go to work at the gas station, then after my shift, I would go to the warehouse where I worked 7 days a week, 12 hours a day. I did this 7 days a week for 8 years straight so that I could save money to buy my first rental property. During this time, I didn't have a social life. I was not married and I didn't have any hobbies. All I did was work and save. And by doing this, I was able to save $40,000 in just 1 year. And with that, $40,000. But here's what's interesting. While I was working super hard to make sure I had enough money to buy this duplex, I had no idea how to actually manage my finances or invest. I mean, I was buying a duplex with a 30-year mortgage. So obviously, I knew something about real estate. But when it came to investing and managing my money, I knew nothing. Yet I still went ahead and did it. And within a year of owning this duplex, it made me more than my job at the warehouse ever made me in a whole year. Now, I share this story with you because there are some people who will listen to this message and they will think to themselves, well, this guy is just lucky. No, there is nothing lucky about what happened to me. It was the result of a decision that I made. See, I was willing to live like I was poor, while I was making moves like a rich person. And most people never do this. They always want to live like they're rich, but they don't want to make moves like they're rich. Here's what I mean by that. You see, most people, when they start making money, right away they upgrade their lifestyle. They get a bigger car, they get a bigger house. They start dressing nicer, they eat out more often. Basically, they increase their standard of living as soon as they make more money. And this is what I call the consumer trap that keeps you poor forever. You see, when you start making money, if you immediately upgrade your lifestyle, what you're basically doing is you're taking money from your future and putting it into today. And the problem with this is that eventually you run out of other people's money. See, when you're broke, you can borrow money from friends and family, or you can get a payday loan or a title loan or a credit card loan. But all of these eventually run out, and once they run out, now you're trapped. Now you're stuck living paycheck to paycheck forever because you never got out of the consumer trap. And let me explain. The consumer trap is really simple. It's when you spend more money than you make. And as long as you continue to do this, you will always be trapped in a cycle of poverty. See, when you make more money, instead of upgrading your lifestyle, what you should do is upgrade your investments. And the reason why you need to do this is because investments appreciate in value over time. For example, when I was living paycheck to paycheck, I couldn't afford to buy a house. So I rented a house. However, I decided that even though I couldn't buy a house, I could buy rental properties, so I spent my money on real estate, which increased in value over time. Today, those rental properties are worth almost $1 million. If I would have spent my money on things that depreciate in value like cars, clothes, and jewelry, then I would have been broke today. Instead, I spent my money on assets which have increased in value over time. And that's how I built my wealth. So here's the question I want you to ask yourself. Are you spending your money on things that appreciate in value? Or are you spending your money on things that depreciate in value? See, the goal is to spend money on things that appreciate in value over time. And the only way to do this is to first escape the consumer trap. Here's a quote that I read that really helped me escape the consumer trap. Wealth is not the same as income. To build wealth, you must save and invest your money. The starting point of all wealth is a well-developed plan. This quote really changed my mindset when it came to money. Because before I heard this quote, I thought that making more money was the only way to become wealthy. I really struggled with this when I was flipping houses. See, when I was flipping houses, I was making a lot of money. So when I heard this quote, wealth is not the same as income, it really changed my mindset. And the biggest thing that I learned is that wealth is what's left over after you subtract your liabilities from your assets. Your liabilities are things like your credit card debt, your student loans, your car loans. These are all things that decrease in value over time. And your assets are things that increase in value over time. These are things like stocks, bonds, real estate, and businesses. So the difference between your assets and your liabilities is what's left over. And that's your wealth. So now, instead of thinking that making more money will make me wealthier, I realized that I needed to stop spending money on things that depreciate in value and start spending money on things that appreciate in value. And guess what? It worked. The truth is, when you make more money, you have an opportunity to live like you're rich. And the key to this is to not fall into the consumer trap. Don't upgrade your lifestyle. Instead, upgrade your investments. This will allow you to keep more money in your pocket. And over time, that money will grow and multiply. And before you know it, you'll be wealthy. Now, the best part about being wealthy is that it gives you the ability to do whatever you want, whenever you want, without having to worry about money. For example, one of the things that I love about being wealthy is that I don't want to have to worry about money anymore. In fact, money is probably the furthest thing from my mind. I don't think about money when I'm going to sleep. I don't think about money when I'm waking up. I don't think about money when I'm hanging out with my family or my friends. Money is literally the furthest thing from my mind. And this gives me so much peace of mind. Because I know that no matter what happens, I will be okay. If you want to become wealthy, you have to understand that it's not about making more money. It's about keeping more money. And the best way to do this is to avoid the consumer trap. Don't upgrade your lifestyle when you make more money. Upgrade your investments instead. Now, I know this may sound like common sense, but trust me, it's not. When you're making more money, you have more opportunities to spend money. You have more opportunities to upgrade your lifestyle, and it's really easy to get caught up in that. But you have to resist that temptation, because if you don't, you will be stuck living paycheck to paycheck forever. So I want to leave you with one last thought. Are you going to live your life based on other people's expectations? Or are you going to live your life based on your own expectations? You see, when you're living paycheck to paycheck, you're usually doing it because you're trying to impress other people. You want to drive a nice car so that your friends and coworkers will be impressed. You want to wear nice clothes so that people will think you're successful? But when you do this, you're living based on other people's expectations, not your own. When you become wealthy, you no longer have to worry about what other people think of you. You can do whatever you want, whenever you want. And this gives you so much peace of mind because you're really no longer worried about impressing anyone but yourself. So I want you to ask yourself, what do I want my life to look like? What kind of lifestyle do I want to live? And once you have a clear vision of what you want, then you can start making moves towards that. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.